This is The Politics of Everything, and I'm your host, Amber Daines. Welcome to the podcast where we want to discuss the politics of everything, from money to motherhood, nutrition to narcissism, startups to secularism, the environment to equality, and much more. Our guests are experts in their field or topic of choice, even if you've not yet heard their name. This is a bipartisan podcast, so while we love exploring varied views and get a buzz from a healthy debate, by no means is this a one-sided forum for any one political view. So please listen up and enjoy the politics of everything. What comes to mind when I say hypnotherapy? My guest today, Eugenie Pepper, is going to discuss this concept in much more detail very soon. With a professional background in interior architecture, design, fine art curation and counselling, plus a more recent period helping drive new growth in a family-owned business with babywear company Plum, Genie has now found her latest passion. She is co-founder of a business called Key Mindfulness and has launched the Key for Me app. As part of this practice, Genie and her business partner Rosemary use hypnotherapy as one of the techniques to achieve health and wellbeing goals. Welcome to the podcast, Eugenie.
Well, thank you very much, Amber, for having me today.
So I know your backstory, but for those of us who don't, what was your early career like? What did you do and how did you get into it?
Well, I have done many different things. When I first finished high school, the first thing I did was study design at UTS, and I studied interiors and textile design while I was there. After that, I set up my first business at 25. I co-owned a design business and had an art gallery called Astro, and I did that for a few years. After that, I moved to New York, where I worked in an art gallery in Tribeca, and I also collaborated with the Australian consulate over there, and I organised some art exhibitions,
Wow.
Australian artists, which was really fun.
Amazing.
And I still actually represent several artists, and my family home doubles as a gallery. So I've got a lot of things sort of on the go still. For the last sort of 8 or 9 years, I was working with my husband. We had the family business, which he mentioned, Plum, which was produced baby wear and baby sleep bags and baby swaddles. And more recently, since we sold the major shareholding in the business, I've taken on a new venture. My husband stayed on in the business, but this is where I sort of got involved with Rosemary and started Key Mindfulness and developed the Key for Me app. So that's where I'm at now.
It's an incredible journey. So for those of us who are not really familiar, what is hypnotherapy and how can you even learn to teach it? Like, how have you got equipped to understand what to do?
Okay, well, I've actually done a course. You can do courses to learn how to do it. But really, it's not some woo-woo thing. It's a state of deep relaxation. So hypnosis allows for people to make change on a subconscious level. And while you're under hypnosis, you can reprogram your beliefs. And it works simply by when you're in that very relaxed state, it allows for increased suggestibility. So it's nothing more than a feeling of meditation. It's a very normal feeling. It's the feeling you might have before you doze off to sleep. And I tell my clients, don't expect to feel like you're hypnotized. Just expect to feel very relaxed. And all clients are different. Some go very, very deep, but others have a full state of awareness. So they're never, they're aware of my voice. They're aware of what's happening at all times. And no matter how deep you go, you're still in control all the time. So, and hypnosis is not something that's done to you. It's a process that you're guided through. So, yeah, anyone can be hypnotized.
Interesting.
And you can't be hypnotized against your own will. So, if I would say, Amber, I'm going to hypnotize you to rob a bank, you're not going to do it.
Right.
It's got to be something that you want.
Interesting. Not like those Hollywood movies, you're getting sleepy and they're swinging a pendulum in front of you.
So, I try to make sure that my clients have a really good understanding of what it's all about before we get started. So I manage their expectations. Yeah, because a lot of people do think it's like in the movies, and it's not as extreme as that,
So what is the purpose of hypnotherapy versus other techniques such as mindfulness or meditation? Is it different, and how?
Meditation and hypnosis are very similar. They both induce extremely beneficial and deeply relaxing and calming states of mind. So both of them help you become really calm and stress-free and more positive. And both states give you a heightened focus and concentration. But the main difference with hypnotherapy is it focuses directly on a goal to achieve that positive change. And that it can really help with things like becoming more confident, overcoming any fears or anxiety, staying motivated to eat better or exercise more. It can help you sleep better. And then the big thing that a lot of people use hypnosis for is like quitting smoking or quitting sugar.
Yeah, that's the one that comes to mind, the quitting. I know people have used hypnotherapy to quit smoking because they've tried everything else, and it's kind of like that last attempt to kind of really kick the habit. So with the Key for Me app that you recently launched with Rosemary, how does it sort of work, and why did you decide to create it now?
Well, look, it came about, Rosemary and I were on a holiday in Bali, and we are both working mums and spent a lot of time, feeling a bit stressed out. And that holiday was just so wonderful. We sort of started thinking of how we can get this feeling of relaxation and incorporate it in people's daily lives. And so we wanted to make a meditation hypnosis app that was accessible for everyone, because it is hard to find that time and that energy for meditation. So the Key for Me app was designed to make meditation and hypnosis really quick and really easy. And it enables you to take time from your busy day just to find some calm in that chaos of being, working and managing family. And it makes it really easy to relax. And then also we've put in those hypnosis programs so people can listen to it, prior to going to bed or when they wake up in the morning, and gives those suggestions to help them quit those bad habits that they've got as well.
Great. So as a mum of 2 children, how do you think that shaped your desire for that more grounded lifestyle and perhaps sprung your interest, I guess, for wellbeing as a career move?
Well, look, the world now is at a very hectic, fast pace, and I feel, particularly as working mums, we're constantly bombarded with things we have to do and places we have to be, whether it's, the after school activities and all that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of us are feeling overburdened, and our to-do lists are sort of never ending. And balancing family and work commitments, where, I feel so stressed and anxious at times. And, this is what it really inspired me to create the app, because I needed it for myself, and I needed it, I wanted to help my friends who are going through this as well. So
absolutely. No, I think often a personal experience often makes the business idea even make more sense. And that's what I found as well. Like the things I'm interested in, like why I do this podcast, is because these are all topics that I'm interested in. So I get to interview all these fabulous people and find out things I didn't know about a topic I'd like to know more about. So I think it's kind of a natural progression in that way. So what do you think some of the biggest issues that you've come across in your new business venture that affect most of us? I mean, we all talk about lack of time, a bit of anxiety and depression around the pace of life and the demands. Is there anything else that you find a lot of your clients will come to you and say they need help with?
I want to say that it's actually surprised me how many people really do suffer from anxiety and really need this for stress management. And what I've really found is when people come to me with other issues, such as wanting to quit smoking or want to better their eating habits or cut down on drinking or any of those other things, a lot of it is triggered by anxiety and stress. So really, I've got to say the big one is anxiety.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, mate. I always wonder if yes, our life is more hectic, but maybe people are more conscious of anxiety as well, and that they need to deal with it better and sooner. Because I think a lot of people must have suffered in silence. Our parents' generation, I don't think anyone talked about mental health and wellbeing for parents.
Yes, and I actually think it's particularly for kids. I think we're talking a lot more about kids being stressed and kids being anxious. And I don't know whether it's a new thing. I actually think the kids were probably, just the amounts were probably just the same. It's just back then when we were young, it was like just you had to get on with it, move on with it, and, just deal with it, really.
I know.
And I think
that's
we're much more
interesting.
sensitive to mental health now.
And that's probably a good thing. I mean, maybe if they know how to deal with it, our kids, when they're young, when they get to our age, it won't be quite so hard because I have all those tools, which I would have loved in my 20s. I can tell you that, when it felt like
Absolutely.
work and everything was overwhelming. So if you teach someone just one aspect of hypnotherapy, what would it be and why? Like, could you give us an example of how it's powerful and what someone can expect if they book in a session with you?
Well, hypnotherapy can transform you into a calm and more well-balanced person. It just can take that edge off your stress. And once you change that, your whole attitude to life can become more positive and happier. So particularly with hypnosis, it's that learning that, those relaxation techniques, focusing on your breathing, and doing a body scan and the mindful aspects of hypnotherapy. So that can be all taught and experienced.
And is that something people would do over multiple sessions? I mean, how do you operate the business?
Look, it depends. It depends on the issue. So for something like quit smoking, when someone's really determined, quite often it just takes one session. If someone's got, worries or anxiety or relationship problems, that can take, a longer time. So it really depends on the individual.
That's interesting. Have you used it on has anyone done it on you, and have you found that experience as being the patient?
Oh, look, yes. I actually first did hypnotherapy when I was doing the HSC, and I was really, really stressed out, and I just said to my mum, I really want to try this hypnotherapy to help me with the stress of the exams. So I did it a long, long time ago when I was probably about 17 years old. So I had a thing for it, for a long time, and knew the benefits and knew how it can really help with the, managing stress.
Absolutely. So it's sort of interesting that your career in that way has come full circle, and now this is part of what you do on a daily basis. So I love hearing how people's early interests and passions in their life often become the thing that they pursue at some point. Even though you've had success in other businesses, this sounds like it's the right time for you to be doing this kind of business as well.
Yep, absolutely.
So who's been your number one mentor in your life, and what have they taught you about true success?
Amber, I've got to say, I can't think of, I've got to mention two mentors.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
So when it comes to career-wise, I have to mention my dad has inspired me to get started in business early on. From a young age, he had always told me and my siblings we should work for ourselves and be entrepreneurial, and we all have. So I have to mention my dad, but also more recently my business partner, Rosemary, because Rosemary's inspired me to learn more about meditation. And, she's really helped me find that calm in our very hectic and busy lives. So Rosemary has had a lot more experience than me. She's been supporting people for 20 years, and I really have learnt so much from her. So that's why I had to mention two people.
So one historical and one newer one. I think that's great.
Yes.
And I do think we often have different mentors at different stages of our life. I know I have, like different people, depending on where I'm at. So I think it's never just one person. But I always try and get people to try and pick one. But there you go. So just to wrap up, what would be your top 3 tips for anyone embracing the politics of hypnotherapy? If people want to get started, what would be the top 3 things you'd like them to know?
Well, I just want to let them know that it's a really easy way to help you stick to your goals and change your habit. And it's also a very effective way to improve your health and wellness and to relieve anxiety. And also for those people suffering from insomnia, it's also a really excellent tool to help you sleep better. So they're the top 3 things.
Well, it's been fabulous chatting to you today on the politics of everything. If you do want to contact Eugenie, there will be some details of her website and her connections on our show notes. Until next time, keep well. Thanks for listening today. If you've enjoyed the politics of everything, we thrive on feedback. So please add a short review and share the podcast with your network, your friends and family. I'm also always on the hunt for fabulous new guests. So if you've got a view to share and an idea how to get our listeners excited, please email me at amber@bespokecoms, that's BESPOKE comms.com.au, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Until next time.